but clearly see that generative AI on content, on product content, video, pictures will be a key element on productivity and scalability of our operation. Every time we first raise the question, not raise the AI for AI, but what is really the problem that we want to solve and what is the added value of the technology that we are bringing.
You're listening to Talk Commerce. Subscribe and download at talk-commerce.com.
Welcome to this episode of Talk Commerce. Today I have Xavier Rio. He is the Global E-Commerce Manager for 3M. Xavier, go ahead, do an introduction for yourself. Tell us your day-to-day role and one of your passions in life.
Okay, thanks a lot, Brent, and hello everyone. So I'm Xavier Rio, so I'm a French based in France near Paris, and I have the pleasure to be a global e-commerce manager in 3M Safety and Industrial Business Group. So my daily activity is to lead various global e-commerce project and program across US, Europe, Asia, GC, and LATAM to generate additional incremental sales through our e-commerce partners platforms. As a passion, I'm a former rugby player, so I know that it's not a sport really popular in the US, even if the women US team won the gold medal in the last Olympic Games in Paris. But rugby is a fantastic sport. I'm a big fan, and the rugby bring me a lot of collaboration and teamwork value. So, great.
Yeah. And I think everybody in the U.S. thinks rugby is a little bit one above maybe American football because you don't wear helmets and you don't wear a lot of padding like the American football players do. And it's rough and ready, right?
Yeah, we wear a jacket. We wear a jersey.
Yeah. Okay, so before we get started, we'll talk a little bit about global e-commerce and B2B. You have volunteered to be part of the Free Joke Project, so I'm going to tell you an extremely funny joke, and you just give me a rating 1 through 5. 5 being the best. I know we had a debate about that. Maybe not -5 if that's okay. So Here we go. Fun fact: Australia's biggest export is boomerangs. It's also their biggest import.
4, I would say.
All right, thanks. I appreciate that. All right, let's talk a little about e-commerce. Maybe let's start with the vision of 3M. And I know 3M has been in the online selling business for a long time, and they've had multiple practices across global B2B, B2C, everything. So tell us a little bit about how 3M fits into that.
Yeah. So first of all, it's important that to remind that 3M is the global science and technology company that creates solutions to empower modern life, advance human progress, and deliver bright future through 3M science, and serve our customers through 3 business groups: safety, industrial, transportation, electronics, and consumer. And 3M go-to-market strategy is primarily through channel partners for the safety, industrial, and consumer groups. So we have an indirect e-commerce go-to-market which operate through e-commerce partners platform and marketplaces served by our distributors. So our vision is to unleash the exponential growth in e-commerce by elevating 3M product experience through enriched product content, empowering customer on 3M product discoverability and transactability on partners e-commerce platform and marketplaces across all areas.
Wow. Okay. That's pretty incredible. And I think 3M too is really well known for, like you said earlier, innovating, coming up with new concepts. How about innovating and concepts within the actual e-commerce space? Maybe talk about what are they doing in B2B and what are they innovating in that's maybe different than some of the competition?
Yeah. And usually when we describe innovation, innovation is equal to invention and commercialization. We could have great invention, but if we are not able to commercialize, it won't be an innovation. And innovation can be, of course, on our platform technology, on our product, but also on how we are commercialize our product. That's why for e-commerce, we are implementing a digital shelf enhancement program that is really empowering product experience based on insights and getting from a web crawler to feed an always-on model. So it's really how we are driving product experience through this innovation project and model.
Are you seeing a lot of B2B now adopting a lot of what D2C was doing? And even what, if you would think traditional D2C, that the B2B market is using some of those concepts to not only go to other distributors, but to go to manufacturing and things like that?
Yeah. We always experience that some of the D2C, B2C trends are now coming to the B2B. But for the B2B environment, it's always important to really understand what is the differences between B2C and B2B. For B2C, we are speaking about consumer and B2B company. And what is really interesting on B2B is on B2B, we will have to deal with company. So we will have to understand what their segment, how they operate. And even inside each of the company, which we have to understand what are role and responsibility of the different persona in a single company and even inside an overall segment. And it's how B2B operation and B2B commerce is so patient because we have to handle all these different variables to run effective business and marketing strategy.
In that digital design concept, how does it differentiate itself from what now they're doing, what traditional, and I don't want to use the word traditional because it seems like everything is changing so quickly, but what differentiates that from the, let's call it the common practice in selling business to business?
So what is really different is how we will efficiently implement digital to enhance and empower the business operation. B2B is a kind of, we can say sometimes, old way to commercialize product. And e-commerce is not the end state. Really, the end state is omnichannel contract commerce to really how we leverage added value process tools and capability to generate power to the company and to the customer. And it's when we are able to merge these different components from offline, from online, and consolidate on an effective omnichannel strategy that we bring value, growth, and profits to companies.
Yeah, if we think about omnichannel 30 years ago for business to business, it was using fax, telex, maybe sending a paper PO, just getting on the cusp of starting to send emails. And now omnichannel means something different. What is it adopting from omnichannel in terms of B2C? Like if you think about social commerce, things like that. What are the ways that a B2B is adopting the omnichannel practice?
I think B2B starts, as you mentioned, with at the beginning it was multi-channel. We had additional one. Then we evolved the concept from multi-channel to cross-channel. I think it was 10 years ago. And I remember when I did my MBA, I wrote a thesis on how to implement a B2B cross-channel strategy. But then it continued to evolve to implement this omnichannel concept. And omnichannel concept is we can reach all the different channel and touch point, and we can uh, have interaction and a kind of continuity across the different sales cycles, across the different silo, the different channel, and be efficient on how we are dealing with all the information data point that will nurture the next activities and touch point. And social commerce is just the next stage of how customers are interacting on data, on information, on with brands. It's just before that it was on print catalog, then only on trade show. Now it's more on. It was on internet. Now it's evolving to social media. It's really just an evolution. And from my point of view, it's not the end. There is no end. It's just the natural way of how business and mega trends are evolving.
I know 3M has always been on the leading edge of how they communicate with their clients, how they communicate with other businesses that are in their sphere. How important now is video in terms of communicating some of that vision, or even communicating products to the not just the consumer but to other businesses?
So video is with the social media increase is really one of the key driver media to share message. And video it's just a media, but we need to understand what and as it's part of the communication, we always have to raise the question: what is the purpose? How to reach the right user at the right customer stage on the right uh, targeting segment persona, and then for each of the customer step, what is the right format to properly reach? Probably at the beginning on the awareness stage, we have to provide some solution video with introducing some problem solving. But when we are close to the conversion step, we should promote more some shortened video with really a bullet point that will drive the decision making of the end user.
I know that I just saw a stat about the different Gen Z, millennials, how they're changing B2B, how they're changing how businesses work and with other businesses. And if you think about the traditional B2B buyer, it may be an older person, a more mature buyer that sometimes are resistant to change. Are you seeing a lot of change happening faster because those younger people are now taking positions where there may have been somebody that was familiar with a telex machine that it was resistant to a lot of this change?
We already noticed this kind of change, and it's really amazing how new generation are driving the pace on evolving how we are driving business. And it's at all the as I mentioned earlier, it's at the different stage of the customer journey. Because when we think about B2B, they are the buyer, but they are the prescriptor, they are the user of the product, and all these different roles in the organization with different age are evolving differently. So it's already something that we clearly see with a lot of product users that are using on a day every day 3M and B2B products.
We think about 3M with some traditional products like tape and post-it notes. What are you seeing that is really driving the market right now? And we also see 3M going direct to the consumer as well as B2B. Where is 3M really thriving right now in terms of how they're growing and where their channels are, where they're finding channels to grow in?
So I think we are a bit more back on selling directly to end user. It's something that we made some pilots. We get some very interesting learning, but I think really our key go-to-market model is to go through channel mainly for our safety, industrial, and consumer business group. It will be a bit different for our transportation and electronic, but one of the key what we are really want to drive is more innovation with platform, really working on sustainability, and uh, we recently released a new safety hearing helmet with communication that can be recharged by solar energy, and it's the first product in the world that have this kind of solar recharge energy capability in the market. So it's really leveraging sustainability. It's one of the key trends and key opportunity for 3M to again uh, solve key problem, key emerging trends by science and technology.
Yeah, I guess I'm from Minnesota, so we think about 3M being here or being in St. Paul. But it's really is a global organization, and there's so many things that happen all over the world. Uh, how important is it to get you do a lot of output, like you sell things, but getting input from all the different regions. You're in France. How important is it that for 3M to learn from its consumers in the region it's in?
So I think where it's really important is, as you said, we're operating in all over the world in 70 countries. And we clearly see some different level of maturity and technology adoption. And the country where I'm always amazed by how far they are in terms of e-commerce, social selling, and so on, it's in China. It's really amazing how far they are advanced on driving e-commerce and advanced e-commerce technology.
In the beginning, you talked about this digital shelf. I kind of want to just go back to that and talk about how you see the business implementing the digital shelf to be successful with 3M.
So first of all, I think it's important that we define what is digital shelf concept, and it's build an end-to-end process that leverage product content insights provided by web crawler to inform cyclical content optimization and delivery process, which will enable product discoverability and transactability on our partners platform and marketplaces. And for that, we should rely on technology to have we need to build, enhance, and implement the right crawling capability to measure the product experience uh, delivered by our product exchange management system, by our PXM. Secondly is with our people, for each of the stakeholders involved on business and digital shelf, how they are effectively drive the change and implement it. And it's how we drive this end-to-end process that will create value to the organization.
The we've made it through this conversation so far without talking about AI, and you mentioned technology. How is AI playing a role in shaping the way 3M is delivering solutions in terms of digital to clients?
Hmm. So AI is revolutionary technology that is empowering all piece of our business practice, but we need to make it right, efficiently. And when I'm say right is, first of all, it we have to be careful that it won't break any silo confidentiality, because it's an important element of our operation. But we clearly see that generative AI on content, on product content, video, pictures will be a key element on productivity and scalability of our operation. And we already started to run some project and pilots how we can implement AI components on our day-to-day operation. And every time we first not raise the question, not raise the AI for AI, but what is really the problem that we want to solve, and what is the added value of the technology that we are bringing for AI or non-AI. What is the added value of the technology and how it will serve people and processes to deliver growth and productivity.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think of the generative AI, but really the magic of AI, especially for business, is how it works with big data sets and behind the scenes where it helps to parse out data. What are you seeing going into next year, into 2025, that is going to be exciting in the e-commerce space?
So based on AI, I think that we can provide more personalized message, product content when we will cross company expectation segment for the same product. Imagine we are manufacturing and commercializing respirators, same product, or lot of different product for different needs, but for the same product, we commercialize this same respirators for workers in MRO, electricity, or even for a large supplier, large constructor. But the message usually the same. Generative AI will enable us to adjust our message based on the segment. If it's in metal industry, on transportation, or on construction, on food and beverage. These different segment company have different requirements and needs. And right now, with our message, most of the company are not able to really differentiate the message, the claims, the product description to these different segments. So generative AI will able to make this personalization and enable, based on customer segmentation, how we will link that.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting concept because personalization in the D2C is usually for the individual, but personalization in B2B is for the whole company, right? So there's a different sort of persona. What do you see changing in terms of how you're segmenting or personalizing businesses compared to personalizing an individual?
So he have to be fully integrated because we will personalize based on segment, based on persona, and then based on an individual. So we have different layer that we need to implement and integrate with our distributor network that are sometimes generalist or sometimes already specialized based on the segment.
So we have a few minutes left. What are your thoughts about how we went through this last quarter of Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and it might be a little. Is it similar in France? The whole push for online sales.
Yes.
What do you see?
Yes, it's a concept that have been really adopted in France and also in most part of the world, except maybe in China. They have additional or similar event to on other day, but yeah, it's really a key moment for business.
Do you feel that there is going to be this push from a B2B standpoint to have sort of a sell, or is it always going to be cyclical based on the product and based on the season in B2B?
So in B2B, it's we have a less peak than on the B2C because at the end, we are selling B2B company or selling product to end user company. And it's they could also, they could of course make some stock because they will be better priced, but at the end they have to manage the inventory for regular for their commodity and regular products. So it will always be a interesting promotional event, but it won't be as important as it's critical on the B2C environment.
Yeah, as I said it, I thought about buying a whole container of Scotch tape, and nobody's going to probably buy a whole container unless it's a really good deal, right?
Exactly, but we need to pay for the management and for the supply and for the inventory.
So as we close out, I give all of our guests a chance to do a shameless plug, anything. And I know that you have 50,000 plus products that you could plug. What would be the exciting thing that you see from a product standpoint for this next year?
So really the one that I already mentioned is the helmets, the connection helmets, which is recharged by solar energy. Really something that it's really amazing because it's enabling product safety with very high quality. But in the meantime, it's solving one problem, which is recharge the helmet or having additional battery. And the third issue is about leveraging sustainable energy by solar energy. And I think it's one of the products which I really amazed by the company.
Yeah, I guess that people don't think about all the different areas. So solar is one of the areas at 3M, or at least personal solar, trying to get those things charged in a smaller scale is something that you're excited about for 3M.
Yeah.
Xavier Rio, that's been such a great conversation. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much, Brent.
Talk Commerce is a production of Content Basis, LLC. For more creative content, go to contentbasis.io.